This is going to be a video about replacing the casters on the Sedona grill by Lynx. This is the L500PSF, so it has a 30-inch grill with a cart. And this is 6 years old, looks brand new on the outside, not on the inside necessarily, but on the outside. But one thing that's annoying is that the casters are just regular steel, so they spend over $4,000 on this grill, and they have these casters which are pretty not really nice. And the other thing is they mark a lot. They cause a lot of marking. So what you do to take it out is just they're called a top deck caster, in that the grill rests on the top of the deck, and then they're just kept in by these 1/4 inch 20 turns per inch screw that's a 1/2 inch long, a truss screw. So it's a little flat on the top, kind of like with a washer almost built in. But watch out, you have to use a number 2 or number 3 Phillips head. What I did was I tried to do the quick and dirty solution of getting it off with this, because I put it up on the blocks, and that really tore this one up, almost the point where I thought I was going to have to drill it out. And then I went and did what I should have done in the beginning, and I put a number 2 on here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's flatter. Oh, how do you get the focus? Anyway, the number 2 is good because it's flatter and it's good for these type of screws. So I took it off, and then I was able to find, I wanted to get replacements that were stainless steel or otherwise improved, but it turns out that this caster size, the mounting holes and the size, really just come in this cheap type. So you couldn't really upgrade much, except the other ones are non-marking and a little wider wheel. Actually, it took a lot of investigation, but I was able to find the perfect match. And unfortunately, as I mentioned before, I couldn't upgrade to stainless, but the hard thing is to get the plate the same size and the mounting hole the same size. But these are, that matches, and this is the rigid, which means it doesn't swivel, and that matches. So in case you want to get these and don't want to spend all the hours I spent, this is the rigid caster, and I got this from Grainger, which I always find to be very nice. And just so you know here that it's, the other one's made of hard rubber, which marks, and this is synthetic, so it doesn't mark. If you ever want to get another one, it has to match these holes. And non-marking, yes. And then here's the one that's the swivel. If you want to order this from Grainger, here's the item number. And then it's a swivel. And then again, it's synthetic and not rubber. Here's the hole spacing, which is important. And then also it's non-marking. So that will be an upgrade. And in addition, you can tell that the wheels are slightly bigger with the new ones. And just to show you the screws, if you want to get any, these are the truss screws. They're a little flatter on top. And so I went to Lowe's, and you can get the truss screw. So if you want to get the exact screw that's a replacement, it's the 1/4 inch, 20 turns per inch, 1/2 inch long, stainless steel. And this is a perfect match for it. But sometimes they won't have that. In that case, you can just get the regular machine screw, which is 1/4 inch, 20 turns, and 3/4, because they usually won't have a 1/2 inch. This will usually be the shortest. So if you use this, you're going to have to use a stainless steel washer, 1/4 inch, to keep it from going through, because the hole itself is rather big. So now I'm going to see what I can do as far as making it so it'll last longer than the 6 years it took to get that rusty. So I finished having my casters professionally painted, which means a can of spray paint in a cardboard box out in my yard. And what I did was I masked the tread, because these are supposedly non-marking, unlike the original, but I definitely don't want paint to start coming off. So I masked the tread, and also this is the swivel, so I masked that because it would probably mess up the ball bearings. And then this one is just a metal rod through, it's just an axle, so you don't have to worry about any ball bearings. And you can tell that's just kind of old. So the whole goal will be to see if I can have this last 6 years like the previous one. Now, the grill was stored completely covered the entire 6 years, was not washed down with water. So this was just because of exposure to the air. And we don't have salt air. It's next to a pool, so there's some oxidation because of the chlorine in the pool, but that's it. So it's kind of disappointing that the expensive grill, they use these very inexpensive casters, but perhaps these will last 6 years, at which time I'll probably be ready for a new grill. So now the masking is off, and this is the rigid, meaning it doesn't have a swivel, top plate mounted caster. And again, it's this hole combination that's really hard to get. Usually the holes are more of a square or slight rectangle, but these are very oblong rectangle. And usually these casters are only made of inexpensive steel. But that one looks okay. Now this is where the amateur part of the painting comes out. When you look at the swivel and the ball bearings, didn't want to get those painted. So that definitely does not pass the test of being professional, but otherwise it looks like it should be okay to last 6 more years. So here's the final product. Now that I know those are black, I'll notice them, but I don't think anyone else will. Now what I can show you are some of the marks from previous. So see this, the rubber marks, wherever you'd move it is always relentless. But now, when you move it, first of all, it rolls very easily. Now when you move it, it doesn't mark at all because they're not rubber, they're polyolefin. And anyway, that's the final product.